Well, the installation of this is going to have to go either up there, which I don't like, probably down there I'd say. Now it's a no screws to hold in it, it's actually fitting onto a panel. You got those little things just here that lock it in. So I had to go and buy a box from Jacob. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount that probably over there. Don't know yet. Puts a hole in things, this. So I'm going to mount that on there and the shunt on there. And the cables inside, I suppose. It's only hooked up to the neutral, so I'm not sure that's how I'm going to do it yet. I don't have to move anything at the moment, and I need to get into here. I probably don't. There's a plug under there I need to get into, just under here. But I don't. I've got other plugs on here I suppose I could use. There's one on this side. So I don't need a plug, and I can always unplug this if I need a plug. Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to have to put it there, so I can get this top of this up and unscrew that if I need to. Oh well, that's where I'm going to have to put it. That's where I'm going to have to put it. Okay, I just finished mounting the box with bolts and lock nuts, and put some silicone over the heads laid on the other side. It's the only way I can do it by myself is with the vice grips and screwdrivers. So yeah, so that's the first step, is bolt that on. I can always drill holes in here if I need to later. Now the next step is to cut a hole in the front. It's got to go down, so I've got to allow it to go down to about halfway. So it goes down to about there, and that's where it's going to go. So yeah, I've got to clear these little wings up the top up there where the bolt's supposed to go through. Made it too hard if I put them through there. So that's where I'm going to put it there. And then it'll end up being like that on the front, and down the bottom is going to be the, that'll go down the bottom. Hopefully that'll protect it a little bit too. Yeah, so that's what I do, cut the hole out of there. Mark out the hole, measure it, and then check it. There's a tiny bit more on the outside. It's going to be pretty close. I can always trim it up if it needs to be trimmed. That's where it's going to go. I'll just cut it out on the inside here. Try to be as neat as possible. Not 100% square, but it might be a 1/2 millimetre out on one corner. It's over one way a tiny bit, but who's counting? It's slightly down a little bit. So, but I'm not going to keep cutting it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's pretty good at the moment. Well, that's That's it there, but I'm not finished yet. The cable's just sitting through the hole. I've got to protect it. I could, just wouldn't fit behind that box. I didn't want to buy a bigger one. Anyway, I'll connect it up there, and it's only uses the negative anyway. And one positive, that's a positive wire there. Well, this kit doesn't come with the battery cables, it actually states that. So I've got to take off the battery from the black and take it up to here, and then the black back to the battery. The red power cable that comes with here, it goes to the battery, but I'm taking it up to the switch up in here. There's a spare switch, so I can actually turn it off. If it doesn't work, then I will directly take it to the battery, but I want to be able to turn it off and isolate everything so there's not a drain on the battery at all. If I don't use the, I don't want to be drained, totally drained. So this is my little switch area here. So at the moment, this is the neutral here, this is the neutral there. I just put a bit of corrie on it. I'll take it up to here, whichever one the book says to do. Then I'll take the other one back to the battery, plug in this gets plugged in, and then the red wire goes from here and up into here, which will be the switch, which will be the second one in. I'm not to start marking them a bit better, but yeah, that'll give me no switches left. But anyway, I can always add more. So that'll be the plan at the moment. That's what I'm doing. And this here is just sitting in there. I'd have to, it may come out if I, anyway, I might just add a dab of silicone on that to keep it back. So that's the plan at the moment, is to run the black wire to here, the black wire back, and the red wire up to there, and then that'll be it. Okay, so I've got a bit of, I think it's 8 gauge black. So I'm going to take that. I've got some crimp connectors here to go to the battery, so I'm going to put that one on there. A bit of corrie on it. Don't need the corrie, but I'll put it on anyway. Looks good. And another one on that end, and they'll go to the battery. So this is the one that goes from the, so your battery terminal goes from B negative to B negative. So the battery terminal goes to B negative to B negative. The one you took off the battery goes to the P negative. So yeah, just put my glasses on. So yeah, the P negative is the one you took off the battery, goes to P, and then you make another wire up and you go from B negative to the B negative of that. As I said, I'm taking this red wire, the skinny little red wire that goes down to there, I'm taking it up to a switch, putting a switch in the middle of it so I can turn it off. Don't have to do that, but that way I can totally isolate everything and not be a drain on the battery at all. I've been caught a few times where that happens, so that's what I'm doing at the moment, is that. Well, these ones don't fit, but I found a cable, should be long enough with the right size terminals on it. Red, but doesn't matter, I'll put a cover over it. And yeah, I'm going to use that one for it. I'm going to have to drill out the other ones. I'm not going to replace them either. I'm just going to drill them out and make them a bit bigger. And that should be it. Okay, now what I've done is, so when it comes up, everything's 0. So what you've got to do is you've got to go on there and program it. And you get in the program by following the instructions, and you put in your battery capacity. Now I put in, it comes up as 100 amp normal, but you still have to program it and accept it for it to work. So if you've got 100 amp hour, you still got to program it to 100 amp and accept it, and then it comes up with the capacity. It explains it to you what to do, but if you know your battery's fully charged, which I know mine is, that's how much I got there. 120 amp hours, 100, and then it comes up in here, 13.8 volts, and how many amp hours, how much time is left and all that. It goes in all through here. I probably would not recommend putting it through a switch, but I still like to do it. My switch, this is the switch here now, the one that's lit up, that turns it on and off. So if I turn it off, I'm probably going to have to put the capacity in every time. But at least now I can keep my eye on it and see what the battery drain from this switch is. And that, if it's draining a fair bit, well, I can turn it off and then just put the capacity. It only takes me a couple of minutes, a minute or so. So that's what it's doing. But yeah, you can adjust the light here. 8, 7. So you can adjust the light. And it's on 8. So that's it there. Now, at the moment, it's just sitting there like that. I don't know, that's going to get knocked probably, but anyway. I'll just see how it goes. Might have to put something up here. Or something across there, I don't know. But that's where it is at the moment. I'm going to leave it on there, leave it on there, and leave that on there. That's coming up at 13.8. That's 13.8 on the screen up there, so they're matching. I still got access to this Anderson plug here. I've lost the use of this cigarette lighter plug there, but I've got a cigarette light plug on the back here, and then I got a double USB on the back of there. And I can always unplug that and use that cigarette lighter up there if I need to. And the wire that I took from here up to there is fused through here. So that's why I wanted to do it that way. I can isolate it, turn it off. If I've got weeks I'm not using the car, I can just turn that off. That'll isolate it, that'll turn it off. That isolates the battery, so everything can be isolated, so no draw at all on the battery system. And that's why I've done it. Well, time will tell, because I'm going camping in 3 days. So yeah, I'm going to see. Volts drawing, amps of current, and time left in the battery. That'll be there, and it'll tell you how long. So you got a fridge running, how much time you left on the battery, or if you've got a inverter running making coffee, it'll tell you how much time you have left if you're running that current all the time. So yeah, it's still got the cover on that. I'm gonna have to take that off. I'll peel that off, I think. Ah, that's better. A lot clearer. So yeah, that's it there. But yeah, you got to follow the instructions in the book and set the battery capacity. And that's important to do that. I can't stress it enough. Just set the battery capacity. And that's all you really have to do, unless you want to put all the other details in, but you don't need to. See, it says here, steps, detection and setting of the battery effective capacity. Now you can do it in those 3 different ways, but you get on the battery setting in the interface and you set it. And I set it mine for 120 amp hours because I know it's fully charged, and that's the screen you'll come up with, that one there. So I've just set the top setting. You can set alarms, shutdown voltages, capacity, everything you want to set, but I don't want to do that at the moment because the main current draw would be a fridge, and also the BMS on the battery will shut off if it goes down too low, and I want to check everything before I set it. So as I said, you can shut it all, set all these alarms if you want, but I will do it maybe at a later stage if I need to. And it's fairly easy to use, the instructions. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. The current draw of having it going through the switch and a little neon light on, not even registering on here, and if it does, it'll be a minimal. So I doubt if there'll be very little current draw on it, but doing it this way, I can turn it off. I feel better by doing it this way. It can always be changed later, but there's very little current draw, so I'm happy that it's not going to affect it too much. Okay, when I was camping recently, I come back home and I thought my battery wasn't charging, accepting a charge. I tried everything I could think of, but I realised the battery was fully charged and I didn't put everything through the shunt. So any power usage on the black side or the negative side has to go through the shunt. So I've doubled up the wires on here so that the any black wire, and the black wire I'm talking about is the charging wire that used to be over here. I had to have the charging cable plugged into there. It wasn't registering it. So when this is on a positive charge, it will, the screen will flash green, then dull, then green, then dull, then green, then dull. At the moment I got the fridge running. Yeah, see, it's in the positive there now, so it's going to start flashing. See? So it's flashing. So I've got the fridge running from hot. Which would normally draw about, I don't know, 4 or 5 amps. 4 amps, 3 amps probably, because I got the freezer turned off. The blanket is way down here, which is going to be about 14 metres away from the front of the car. And I got a leads running from it right away around here and up to the front of the car. That's my solar input here. There. So the solar is feeding in to the car. It's late in the day. It's nearly 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's not going to get a lot of direct sun unless I angle the blanket. I'm not going to do that. This is only a demonstration. And then it goes through the Redarc DC to DC charger here, which is on a lithium profile. 120 hours of lithium battery in here, and there's the screen on the battery monitor. So 100% charge, 190 amp hours of current, usable current. With the solar bit on, it's only using 0.3 of an amp. The solar wasn't on, and be probably, as I said, probably be drawn 4 amps, something around there. And if I disconnected the fridge, which I'm going to do, it'll probably show you how long it'll take to get fully charged. So I've just turned the fridge off. I'll just read the screen to you. 119 amp hours in the battery, 100%. It'll be 7.35 minutes until 5.42 minutes to fully charged, putting in 4.2, around about 4.3 amps, 57.5 watts, and the battery sitting at 12.5 volts. Okay, I hope you like this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Cheers.